Shut up and sit down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fight for Liberty show live on Free Speech Media. This prestigious 69th episode is brought to you by Nug of Knowledge. They are a wonderful organization out here fighting for liberty and getting people a little bit stoned. So go over there, check out their products, nugofknowledge.com. And if you use promo code UNITE, you will get 10% off. Because that's what we're out here doing in the liberty movement. We're uniting people. So go do that. Help out some friends, including myself, but also other cool people like Spike Cohen and Dan Berman. So everything stays within friends on that one. Makes me happy. But tonight we have an awesome show for you guys. Two really awesome people that I've gotten to meet so far this year who are really kicking ass in the liberty movement. We've got Gus Josephs and Unity Gryf. Hello, gentlemen. We'll switch you guys around. Oh, Gus, I can't hear you. Or Gryf. I really fucking hate. I hate technology just in general. It's genuinely the worst thing that exists. But Gus, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. We'll see if we can get Gryf's. According to this, your microphone is straight up not connected. So,
well, now
there we go.
There we go. We're back at it.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Gryf.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You guys, I'm stoked. This is going to be a fun convo. You guys both just kind of joined into the movement very recently, and you guys both dove in feet first. And I love that about people. So I'm curious, first of all, what was the thing that made you say, all right, I got to go do something? And what was that first thing that you went and did? Gus, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, the first thing really for me was just sort of watching the debates, the primary debates first, and just like, what is this? Like, it was, I don't know, it was mind-blowing. Like, who are these people? What are they talking about? This doesn't make any sense. And I think the first thing that I did really was read. I did a lot of reading, and just, I read books. I know this sounds like a communist thing to do, but I read theory. I read I read about third parties. I read about other movements. And you know, when I went on the Jorgensen website, and I was like, this stuff is not crazy. She's actually saying stuff that makes sense. I volunteered, and that's really, you know.
Nice. What was the first thing you were doing for Jorgensen when you got involved?
So I started off text banking. That was the first thing, and that was interesting. Libertarians have a very elevated sense of privacy, and not everyone really appreciated being texted. So that was an experience, but it was good. It was really nice to do something.
That's awesome. I can relate with the sense of privacy issue. Wait till you go door knocking.
I used to door knock for a contracting company, and I literally went to this small town that got hailed on really bad one time to try to make all this money, right? Over in some bumfuck nowhere, Wisconsin. And I got ran out by the local sheriff's department within 45 minutes of being there just for knocking doors, trying to like fix roofs. So yeah, I feel you. Door knocking is tough.
Yo, I was in Michigan, or actually, I'll tell the New Hampshire story. That one's better. I was in New Hampshire knocking for Tulsi Gabbard, and I was walking up. It's like a really long driveway and kind of like splits off into like three people's driveways. And so we're on this one specific one, and it's still kind of up a hill. And so there's a balcony kind of deal off like the back deck that the owner is standing on, kind of like watching us walk up his driveway to his front door. So you basically have to walk like past him to get to the door because further up the hill. And so he's just standing there kind of like arms crossed, leaning on the railing. And we get close enough for him to start talking to us. And all he says is, "You guys know people shoot trespassers around here, right?"
Wow, that is.
I did not know.
I did know. This is rural New Hampshire. Like New Hampshire is one of the most heavily armed states in the country per capita. It's honestly though one of the best conversations I had in my entire door knocking time for Tulsi Gabbard. We talked for about an hour. His wife made me and my friend a sandwich. It was great. But Gryf, so what's your story?
I forget exactly what it was that pushed me over the edge. I want to say it was George Floyd's death that kind of pushed me over the edge of volunteering. I'd been following the Unity 2020 movement for a little while before that, trying to get involved, sending emails and not getting anything back. The story of my life when it comes to volunteering. And then I forget how, but I ended up just getting involved in the Unity movement. I started a petition, to get our ticket, or at least get our voices heard on the debate stage, the Unity ticket or whatever. And it got like 2,500 signatures, and that kind of like got me in the door to like the Unity Slack. And then everybody in the Unity Slack thought I was in there trying to just steal their money to promote my petition. And so I don't know, I proved my worth there, ended up becoming a chapter organizer for the tail end of that movement, trying to get people throughout the states. At one point I had like 10 different state chapters running. We were trying to coordinate stuff that, get the message pushed. We hosted things called campfires, sit around the campfire, tell your story, talk to people, kind of like Brett Weinstein always described it as like, back in the day, you would traditionally come and sit down at the campfire at the end of a long day and talk about the day and talk about the tribe and talk about what's going on and figure out big picture issues. And so that's kind of what we were trying to do. Unfortunately, that movement kind of fizzled off quicker than it even got started. Twitter nuked us. And then that was really just like the death knell. And then Brett's plan to get ballot access was actually to just like take the Libertarian Party's or ballot access and use it. And so for me, that was kind of like the pill I needed to be like, okay, the Libertarian movement is probably more viable than what I'm doing here, because we can't do anything.
How's that working out for you?
It's working. I mean, I met you, so.
Oh God, no pressure there.
But yeah, so Unity 2020 was my takeoff point, and then I don't know, I'm just a feet first kind of guy in everything I do, whether it's I manage bars and restaurants. I started as a line cook there, just jumped feet first into trying to take over the restaurant, ended up doing it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I jumped feet first into that before I even understood the technology. Like for me, I just find good ideas, and if I like them, I just promote them, and anything I can do to help. And I just think it's all the nonsense like Gus was saying in the primaries and then the presidential debates. It was just such a joke that's like, how can you not want to try to change that?
Mm-hmm. So do you guys think that that it's getting better or that it's getting worse? Like, with people like us are waking up to this bullshit, but a lot of people are getting lulled to sleep or getting fear-mongered into more brainwashing than they've ever really experienced before. Do you think we're trending in a direction that leads to more freedom after we get to maybe like the fall of the empire or whatever? But or is it getting worse?
I personally think, if somebody like me is waking up to the fact that like duopoly party politics is kind of the end of civilization, or at least the American experiment as we know it. I think there's a good chance we're trending in the right direction then. But I also think that, I mean, if we get another, so we have Biden right now and the DNC running the show, and I think if we get another 4 years of that after this, we're going to be really trending in the opposite direction. I think it's going to get worse. I mean, David, we've talked about my positions on the woke mob before, and I mean, I really don't see how that ends in any positive way, or how not taking personal liberty over yourself ends in a positive way. Like, being told what to do and to stomach it for the next 4 to 8 years isn't going to make anybody on the other side feel any better about where the country's headed.
Well, to me, I don't think it's getting better or worse. I think it's getting weirder. To quote something or someone, we are living in interesting times. And I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I have no answers. So it's weird. It's getting very, very weird.
I can definitely agree with you there. Some weird shit going on in these parts. Man, Gus, you've got some fans in the comments already. Gus is based. Can confirm.
Super based.
Super based. So yeah, I'm having this conundrum myself. I've actually had this conversation a couple of times today, and I feel like there's a lot of people that, especially in the last probably 2 to 5 years, depending on whether or not you want to count 2016 or 2020 as the real wake-up point, but there's a lot of really cool people that were really brainwashed before and have woken up to it and have gotten involved, and they're really doing some stuff. And then there are a lot of people who are super awesome that I was expecting to be like on the good side, who have not actually turned out to be on the good side, and that's made me really sad. And so I guess my biggest question right now is, were they ever on the good side, or was there just nothing front and center enough for me to understand where they really were?
This is how I feel about Andrew Yang. I loved Andrew Yang so much. And then when he kind of got, shoved out of the primaries by the DNC, like what happens to any good candidate that they throw up there. And then he just folded all of his positions to go campaign for Joe Biden. And I was under the assumption he was going to get like a technology staffer role or something in the White House for doing that. He didn't. I mean, he's running for mayor of New York, so who knows if he picked and chose that. But Yang really disappointed me with that. As soon as I found out he was folding for the DNC, like all of my trust and everything he's been saying just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, Yang pisses me off for a lot of reasons, and now that I'm running a campaign against him, I have significantly less love for him. I'm sure Gus can relate there.
I can. I didn't mind him. He was not my favorite, but I didn't mind him, and now I do not like him at all. Like a strong dislike. So yeah, Yang has declined.
Yeah. And he's also one of those people in that conundrum of like, did he decline, or did things just get worse and we realized where he actually stood? Was he selling us some bullshit before and just speaking our language really well?
I think people change with circumstances. So I think he may legitimately have been good, but I think his mentality, just like my mentality, changed. I think people can legitimately change their motivations and their urges.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, it's the human condition to constantly be changing your opinion on stuff, and I think holding any sort of tribal lines is kind of stupid. Like, I'm a dues paying at the Libertarian Party, but if something happens I don't like, I'm gonna comment on it. I'm not gonna like just hold the party down no matter what.
Mhm.
But when it comes to somebody like Yang, it's just like the reversal of like when he came in, I thought he was going to be like the anti-establishment Democrat, you know, and then he just wasn't like.
Mhm.
But it is the human condition to change your mind, and you can change your mind for the worse or for the better. And you know, those campaign dollars, those door knocking experiences will change how you view your positions and what you're doing. And so I don't know. I think he started off well, but his follow through just hasn't been anything I've enjoyed.
Yeah, can agree with that. What makes me think that maybe he was always bad is how he hasn't really changed his rhetoric that much, and he still keeps like siphoning our talking points and other like anti-establishment talking points, even though he's clearly not on our side anymore. He's still pretending to be. He's pretending like he never changed, that he's just like that this is a continuation of his 2021 or 2020 run, even though he's changed almost every policy plank.
Well, and I could say that about, I mean, the DNC, they like stole all of the Unity wording and stuff. I swear, like right after Unity 2020 got nuked on Twitter. It was like as soon as we got nuked, the whole DNC was spitting this Unity, the Biden Kamala Unity ticket, like, and it's just, that's not what they're about. And yeah, if I agree with you, like, you can't, I lost my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie.
Yang's also not from New York City, so the mayoral race is especially fun to just fuck with him. Because he just says the dumbest things because he doesn't understand how stupid he is. Because he's just not from the city. He's trying to be city folk, and he's not, and it's just really fun. He made a comment about making sure that people were able to get from the subways to the Barclays Center and Madison Square Garden easily.
That's not many people's priorities, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, so in his defense, so his problem is he's a parrot, right? That's all he is. He's a really fun, like good talking parrot who just says whatever he's told to say. So people are like, all right, we're starting up the basketball games for the first time in a year and a half. So that's a thing. And a bunch of people are getting hurt on the subway. So that's something that you need to be worried about. So he's like, okay, we need to be worried about people getting to these games safely. But he's not from New York enough to realize that both of these basketball stadiums are built on top of the largest train station in their borough.
I didn't know that either. But
Yeah, it's literally an escalator up. Like that's all you have to do to get from the train to this gate. Like that's it. That's literally it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And then you've got Whipped Cream Gate and Bodega Gate and there's just too many fun experiences.
Did you see the most recent video of him? The dude comes up to him and he's like, "Yo, Yang, do you if you're choking a chick during sex, are you allowed to keep wearing your Timberlands?" And he goes, "Well, I think that's totally up to your partner." And he's just getting killed by the woke left right now for saying that.
Nice. Did either of you guys see the video of Eric Adams explaining how to search your house for contraband?
I did see that. That was not good at all.
No.
Like, at all.
No, it was really bad. I wish I had thought of this ahead of time so that I could have queued it up and played it for everybody watching, because it's so bad. It's literally just Eric Adams. This is like a 20-year-old video, mind you, but one of the mayoral candidates in New York City, who's an ex-cop, explaining as a campaign ad for his state Senate race how to search your house to make sure that your kids aren't hiding illegal things like weapons and drugs in your house. But so it's worse than it sounds. It starts off worse than it sounds, and then it gets worse, and it's just so terrible. Like he just like finds a gun in the jewelry compartment. Like it's the first thing that he finds, and he's just like, you know, you might have in like a harmless jewelry box like this, there might be a weapon, and he pulls out like a fucking Glock, and it's just like, no, there isn't. There just isn't. No one hides their Glock in the living room jewelry cabinet. I'm sorry.
let alone your kids.
Right. Finds like a baby doll over by the mantle place, and it's got like an ounce and a half of weed shoved up in it, and it's just like, no one's doing that. No, it's just not a thing.
I might have to start doing that. That's going to be my exclusive weed hiding spot from here on out. Baby dolls.
I mean, it's not a bad hiding place because they are usually hollow. Especially if it's like one of the like mechanical ones, so it's got the zipper in the back for the battery pack. Like
Right.
that's actually it's not a bad spot. Like he's not wrong. That's the worst part is that like only half of it's wrong. The other half is just like, shut the fuck up, narc.
Right. Quit giving away the goods, dude. Shit.
Oh yeah, and then Brianna's in the comments helping me out. Paperboy Prince, who's also another mayoral candidate, is a street rapper, made a song about this video, which is equally glorious.
That's
I
pretty
thought you were
amazing.
going to say she made a song about my paper boy looking face right now, white as paper.
I mean, you're from the Great White North, so it's expected of you.
It is.
It's just filling in the stereotype.
Toxic paleness.
Mm-hmm. So, Gus, you are working on quite a few things right now. Stacey Pressman for mayor, Outright Libertarians,
Yes.
a couple of other things, right?
Yes.
Tell me, what is the favorite part of your day? What's like the most rewarding thing that you've been doing lately?
I think with Outright, it's really nice to just like see it published. Like, oh my god, I wrote that. That's cool, and people are reading that, and it's really nice to like influence the conversation. So I think, and whenever I, tweet and there's a discussion about it, it's really nice to see people go off of what I say and think about. I don't know. That's very rewarding to me. And the same with the Pressman campaign, just like in discussions, just sort of like being able to influence anything feels really nice. And I enjoy that.
So actually explain for people watching that might not know, what is Outright Libertarians?
So Outright Libertarians is a really great organization, not caucus, organization. They will remind you of that. A really great organization devoted to sort of LGBT issues and libertarianism, either how it affects libertarianism, how liberty can be brought to the LGBT community, or GSM is what they would prefer, I suppose. And it's just, they do a lot of great work, charity work, work at state conventions, influencing policy, it's a really great group. They have public forums every month. It's great.
Yeah, I have had the great pleasure of being friends with a good number of people in that organization, and y'all are dope. All right, so Gryf, you're a little bit newer to the movement. Gus has got like a year on you, but like I mentioned earlier, you dove feet first into some projects, especially including most recently Second Look News.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing there and some of the other stuff that you've been working on lately.
So right now, Second Look News is Stacia Wilson's company. I just help her with it. So I don't want to talk too much about it in depth because she can speak for it. But recently I've been doing some social media management over there, just helping create slides or not slides, like templates and things to post on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just helping her promote it. We're aiming for a soft launch in May, hard launch in June. Honestly, I'm probably causing her a couple gray hairs because I do just tend to kind of do stuff. And then sometimes she gives me some feedback like, hey, that might not be the best thing to post or say, like maybe word it this way. But I'm learning, trying to help out the best I can, and it's fun over there. She has a really great concept for an unbiased second look. So it's called Second Look because the whole concept is to look back on stories after the dust settles a little bit. Look at what the facts of the cases are, or the facts of whatever story it is, and then display those facts in an unbiased view and just give people the information they should be getting from the rip, not these super crazy narratives that you hear right off the bat. Like whenever somebody dies of a police shooting, if they're of African American descent, it's white cop kills black guy. Like the ideal second look is to take that and be like, okay, so like this is what happened. Cop kills this guy for this reason, yada yada yada. But try to avoid all the stuff that causes all the hyper tension and just all the bullshit. Put it out, get it out of there, and give people the stories and the facts that they need to make a decision for themselves on what's actually going on in the country.
Yeah, I'm really excited to read what they're putting out, because I agree, it's a very good concept for a very needed and necessary thing. There used to be things that we could trust like that. Like 60 Minutes was supposed to kind of be like that, right? It was that well thought out, well documented hour-long thing about something where you could really learn some truth and some real shit and expose some stuff. And now it's full of shit. And just the same gotcha bullshit as everyone else, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm extremely excited about that. And you've been doing some dope shit with the social media. It's been popping off.
Yeah, I was a huge social media guy in high school, and then I just kind of got like addicted to it, to be honest, like all those dopamine hits. So I took a break for a while, and I only created more social media for political stuff, basically. So Unity 2020, I needed to have a Facebook, needed to have a Twitter, and so I literally just about a year ago started up on social media again, and it's been fun getting back into it and trying to promote positive things. I spent a lot of my life before I got involved in politics doing some bad shit and promoting some bad shit and just like not being a great person. And so now pushing good messages, pushing good ideas, helping people who are really trying to change, honestly, the country. It's nice to be involved in some of this stuff. And Liberty Unity too is like, I love the Liberty Unity thing. Like Unity is my jam. I love talking to people. I love seeing all walks of life. And that's what Liberty Unity offers me. And that's what Unity 2020 was all about too. So this is the through line of all of my political stuff is just like open conversation, basically. And just like hearing all points of view. And I always say, good ideas beat bad ideas 100% of the time, no matter how long it may take for that to happen. So, yeah,
I'm glad that we've been able to bring people into that movement like yourself that I wouldn't have met you otherwise, really. I mean, probably, because I think I probably still would have met Stacia even if we had never done Liberty Unity, and so I still probably would have met you by extension, but it would have been a whole different atmosphere. And like you said, like that's your shit. So that's why, like, I don't know, is that how much of an effect did having that as the group that brought you in have on you actually joining the LP?
Huge. I don't like if I would have been introduced to, not to shit talk Mices Caucus or anything, but if I would have been introduced to Mices Caucus first or any of the caucuses, really, like that's not my jam. I don't like calling people out. I don't like. There's a time and a place for being a little flagrant, being a little ignorant. Like I love that, but me, it's like in the group chat specifically we're in, it's like everybody's got a different view. Everybody's coming from a different background, and just seeing what everybody had to say, especially about some of the issues that were like closest to me. Like Antifa was a huge talking point for me for a while. I spent a good chunk of the last year just shitting on Antifa at every turn, and like coming into the Liberty Unity thing has really opened my eyes. Like you can't let the mainstream narratives paint your opinions on stuff. You have to talk to the people. You have to understand where they're coming from. So coming into the Liberty Unity thing, really, it makes me happy for the party because there's something within a party like that exists. It's not all like divide and conquer or dominate the other caucuses in the party. Like I'll talk to Mices Caucus, I'll talk to Redacted Caucus, I'll talk to I don't even really know any of the other caucuses, but like I'll talk to anybody. Like fucking let's go, like
yeah,
chat, figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's really funny because I'm actually a pragmatist. Like, this is the only caucus that I'm officially a part of, and half of my friends don't even know that that's a thing. Which probably makes me a bad ambassador for the caucus, and I should probably work on that. But oops.
I mean, I've heard you say it. I just don't know if I've ever heard you explain it.
I mean, that's because as a caucus, we don't really do self-promotion. That's not really a thing. It's all about getting people elected and focusing on campaigns. So messaging and bringing people into the party outside of campaigns just isn't really something that the Prags work on. So we're not very well known because that's not our thing. And that's what groups like Outright and other caucuses like Mises and like the Radicals are really good at that shit. And that, yeah, I think it could be a symbiotic relationship amongst all the groups, and it's currently not, but it could be, and I think it might be in the future.
If I'm just being honest, the only way I see the Libertarian Party really being able to do anything like substantial is, I mean, obviously state elections, state governments, get people representation there first. But if we're wanting to do anything on a national stage, I think you have to unite the caucuses. I think you have to, kind of break down the walls between everybody, because for me, libertarianism and why I identify with it so hard is off of the principles of the party, not off of individual stances or beliefs that I might have within that lens. But as long as at the end of the day, I can look at Gus and I can look at you and be like, hey, you should be able to do what you want to do, as long as you're not affecting me. You know what I mean? Like, don't hurt me, don't hurt my family, and don't hurt my ability to run a business or make money, and I'm cool. Like, let the market decide.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch people come together. We've got Stacy Pressman in the audience now. Shout out, Stacy. Yeah, how much has the infighting made you want to participate, to hear it out, or just be turned off by it, Gus? Like, is that because I do know that there's a lot of people that have actually joined because of it, and it's like a ramping up thing for kind of both sides, but it's also a turn off. So curious which.
I think the arms race has been not good. I think it has led to public humiliation in the case of certain state Twitter accounts. I think it has been it has been not good. But I think we need to establish the difference between respectful debate and infighting. There is a difference. So I think what a lot of people on the left need to realize is that attacking people mercilessly is not okay. I think what a lot of people on the right need to realize is that disagreeing with them does not mean that you are gatekeeping or trying to knock them out. I think both sides here need to understand that they can disagree with each other without destroying each other. Like, it's okay. It is okay to disagree, but also okay to coexist. It's just, there's a happy medium here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I see both of that, and being part of this like obnoxious middle ground group of people as the Liberty Unity group is not really that fun because unfortunately I've met a lot of people in both groups, and then a lot of people that aren't in either, or in any, I should say, because it's not really, that's the other problem. It's not a two-way war. It's like a five-way war with a bunch of alliances drawn. It's the weirdest shit. Like, if it was actually just a left-right divide, it would almost be easier. If it was just like the Radicals versus the Mises, and the Prags were just trying to like make some sense of it in the middle and getting shut down, like they were like the LP within the LP, like that would be an easier minefield to wade through than what it is right now. Because right now you're like a radical and you're friends with like Karen Ann Harlos, And so she's over here talking to Dave Smith a lot, but then you're also friends with like Tom Pinkasov, who's over here talking to like Mike Shipley or something. I don't actually know if they ever worked together. I don't know if they overlapped, but and it's just like the weirdest fucking groups and alliances, and it's so difficult, and it's so worthless. I don't understand why anyone's even participating in it at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, like, okay, so first off, hi, Stacy. Thank you for being here. And then also, I have to say, I'm a gay guy, right? Very obviously. I love drama. Drama's great. And I absolutely hate this, which is saying something, because I can stand a very, very high level of drama. Like, drama is everything. And this made me like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Like, it was too much. So people need to, like, get their shit together, because honestly, I was like, because I could not. Yeah. So if I can't take it, you're doing something wrong. That's fine.
All right, you heard him, people. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Even the GSM community thinks it's too dramatic, and half of you guys claim to be super straight. So, I talk a lot on the show and on other shows about the unity thing and just about the caucus fighting in general. I kind of envy my friend Reed, who stayed out of it. I somewhat regret committing to the Pragmatist Caucus, but I hold them to their statement of principles, which only maybe a quarter of the caucus seems to actually believe in. But they say that they are a non-ideological caucus that really isn't participating in this shit at all. And so I just pretend that that's the truth, just like I pretend that the Libertarian Party doesn't advocate political force on other people, and I just go about my day.
Yeah.
Hey, if you believe it, then, whatever. At the end of the day, you can sleep.
I have made my opinions on the Mises Caucus very clear. I'm not a fan. Okay, look, I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna join them. I'm not gonna like them, but I'm happy to coexist with them as long as they don't literally endorse and platform bigots. That's my line in the sand. I'm okay with them. I've read their statement of principles, and I don't agree with everything completely, but I am happy to discuss with them. I am thank you for that, Brianna. Yes, I'm happy to I'm happy to talk with them. I'm happy to work with them, but I'm gonna disagree with them. And if they can accept that, we're gonna be pals. If they can't, if my disagreement means that I'm breaking unity, then we have an issue. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, disagreements are not a violation of unity. I actually had that conversation with Reed on our show together the other day, because he got a lot of shit over the Easter weekend because he just trashed Christianity for about 48 hours straight.
Yeah.
Which, as like an ex-Christian, I found somewhat antagonistic and excessive, but also super based and hilarious. And triggering people is always a fun thing to watch happen. So, but he got a whole bunch of flack because he's like the Liberty Uniter or whatever, and everybody's like, some unity this is, and he's like, what do you mean? Unity is the fact that I can still be friends with you after this. And the fact that y'all could have posted this the opposite way and been like, all non-believers are destined for hell, and we'd still be friends, right? Like that's how unity works. It has nothing to do with the fact that I have to be nice to you. If anything, you're not anymore. Like that's the joy of unity, is that we get to just like trash each other, and it's fine because it comes from a place of love instead.
Yeah.
That's why I avoid using words when I'm commenting on things. I don't really enjoy
avoid using words.
I use memes. I use memes because it comes across a little a little bit better at least. I might throw a little caption on the meme, but like the other day, the Nevada LP state account or whatever was tweeting some wild shit per usual. And so I just posted like, so you got detention, and it's a picture of Captain America sitting down.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And it's just great. Like, you know, like I'm not being mean to you. I'm not trying to cause any confrontations. I'm trying to have a conversation with memes though, because like that way everybody's feelings can't be hurt as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the best part about Twitter is that you can have a conversation with GIFs and memes, and it's just kind of like the norm.
Right, everybody knows what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, as someone who will, if we want to talk about Nevada briefly, I am someone who definitely, even though I am actually pretty far to the, not pretty far to the right, but I am, you know, I lean right. I am pretty progressive, especially for the Libertarian Party. So as someone who identifies with the left more than I identify with the right, what Nevada did pissed me off. Like, because it is not professional. It is not good to attack a state chapter of your party. You don't do that. That is not, you know, the Democrats do that with Nevada, coincidentally. I you know, I don't even know if the Republicans do that, but we don't do that. That's not good. So even though I might have agreed with Nevada that Kentucky was out of line, I also completely disagree with Nevada's response to it. So in that way, I'm the annoying centrist in this situation because I hate everyone. And
Can relate.
Sucks. Yeah.
Everyone sucks. That really is like, you know, I feel like a lot of people that ended up in the Libertarian Party and then coincidentally into the Liberty Unity movement as a smaller subset of it are like the kind of people that said shit like, I'm not racist, I hate everyone equally.
Yeah.
Like it's those people that we market
the No
to
Lives
as a group.
Matter people.
Right. That's our jam, which is honestly, so I was in a meeting the other day talking about messaging, and we were discussing like how much we should cater to which groups and whatnot. And I spoke up against catering to a group and got some pushback. And my reasoning was that the people that it would cater to are going to get turned off by the rest of our messaging anyway, so it's not worth it. And I was talking about like there's a small subset that we can market to, and getting them is key to getting the other ones. And so we have to focus on like who we can actually reach. And I think that's like a good example of it. It's not the All Lives Matter people. It's not the Black Lives Matter people. It's the No Lives Matter people. Those are the ones that we can get as libertarians. That's who we should be marketing to right now.
Yes, the crazy people. That's lovely.
No lives matter to the state.
Yeah.
That's a great little hashtag right there. I'm going to throw that up.
Do it. Hashtag 69 and just leave people confused about why that's associated with it.
Dude, I was going to show up to this little podcast with my 6'9" tattooed right here. Just get a couple others, not like for real, but it's like some fake tats. I was going to do it. I just ran out of time. I was going to grab a Sharpie and just draw 6'9" all over my face.
You don't want to do that with a Sharpie.
Well, yeah, not a Sharpie, a washable marker, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sad you weren't able to do that. I might hold that against you for the rest of our friendship, which I intend to be a very long time.
Yeah, I definitely got to make my way up to New York one of these times, and we got to have a little drug Olympics or something.
That sounds like a great plan.
Sure does.
I'm very much looking forward to getting out and meeting people this year.
Speaking of which, Cash App, Fight for Liberty, buy David a van. He needs it.
That is a fact, actually. Yes. If you guys would like to support what we're doing here, you can support us on Cash App, or if you want to specifically donate, we're doing a fundraiser this week to get me and a couple other people to some festivals and activist events and like music festivals and stuff like that in a camper / truck. So if you click on the link tree that's in all of the descriptions, you can click on Get the Fight on the Road and donate there, because that would be great. Please do that. We're going to do some great things spreading liberty to everyone that will listen to me, which we're going to hope is a lot of people this summer. Like, a lot of people are ready for this message.
I think that's the most important part. I think there's a big section of this country that watched this last election, that whether they like that watched this last election and they thought to themselves, like, what's going on here? Just like me and Gus did. Like, what? This makes no sense. And I think there's a lot of people who the LP misses, like the combs on the brush aren't fine enough. You know, like, we're missing a good section of people who are looking for something better, looking for something that gives them a little more freedom in their everyday life. Something that's not so polarizing to talk about at bars or with your friends, you know. And I think a lot of people miss us just because the messaging isn't quite there yet, or the state party that there could reach out to them doesn't really have a big presence. And I think if you give people the option to join something better, they will. It's just a matter of time. And that's my big thing with the libertarian and especially the liberty unity movement, is like, what I read through the principles, and I describe the principles as the Libertarian Mind by Bose. That book, like, that whole book to me breaks it down really well. All of our ideas, just don't tread on me, like, don't hurt other people. You should be able to be gay and smoke a joint and fucking shoot your gun in your backyard as long as it doesn't ricochet and hit your neighbor. You know what I mean? So, and I think a lot of people are waiting for that message. They're going to see that message eventually, and they're going to come around, because unless you're just so entrenched in party politics, I don't know how you can, like, not, you know, take your head out of the sand and look around and just see all the division and all the honestly scary things that come from said division, you know? Like, I think that's what really pushed me over the edge. Just like, I was afraid. Like, I had a daughter this year, or in 2020, I should say. And in that year, George Floyd gets killed. My whole hometown is being burnt to the ground. COVID happens. We're locked down. None of the science is making any sense with the lockdowns. Then we move on into the craziest election season I've ever been alive for. I can't speak for, you know, what happened not in my lifetime, but all those different things, it freaked me out. And I was like, there's got to be something better. And if you just, I stumbled into what I'm doing now. So I feel like if people are actually looking and just have the messaging there, you can really reach a lot of people that would otherwise not know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Gryf, you mentioned Unity 2020. I'm wondering if either of you looked into other movements or parties either before or after joining the LP.
Well, I will tell you, I have dual membership. I am also a member of the Transhumanist Party at the moment.
Right. You are a cyborg. I know that.
Cyborg. Which I have, you know, mainly just because I believe in a lot of their values, but I wouldn't say I'm active. This has really been a nice home. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were described in a group chat earlier because I was saying that I was going to have you on as a gay libertarian cyborg. So
I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue.
What have you seen over there that's maybe better or worse than what you've seen in the LP?
I would say two things. I think their emphasis on social tolerance is good, because I think we don't need to compel anyone to like anyone, but advocating for tolerance is a good thing, and I think it's something we should do more. And the other thing is, I will tell you, and you know, people call me a statist or whatever. I'm not an anarchist, okay? I've been interested in anarchy, I've read anarchist theory, and, you know, contrary to how many people see it, it is possible to read theory and then not agree with it. Like, that is shockingly possible. You can actually understand something and not join it. So,
refuse.
So I'm not an anarchist. So one thing that I like that the Transhumanist Party Thank you, Tom. Yes. One thing that the Transhumanist Party advocates for that I
That's who
like,
called you that. That's great.
namely, one thing that I like is instead of just saying, well, the state does it, so therefore we should abolish it, sometimes it's good to advocate for pragmatic policy or intelligent policy. So instead of, I'm trying to think of something. Instead of let's abolish the police, which I generally agree with on principle, let's have, community policing initiatives. Let's have neighborhood watch. Let's have, legalization of or decriminalization of things that get people arrested. So instead of let's just abolish everything, it can make sense to have targeted, specific, well thought out ideas to actually solve problems. And people like that. People like, one of the reasons Ross Perot did so well is he came up there and was like, instead of arguing about all this, ideology, here's a solution that works. Okay, let's do it. Let's do the solution that works. And that's, that's so easy. So I like that. And I think we need more of that as well. And I know Stacey Pressman here has a lot of that kind of policy where it's just what makes sense here? What is common sense? And that's really good.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for, because one of the biggest pushbacks against anarchy is that we're just gonna get a government again, and so why bother, kind of a thing. And a lot of anarchists throw that around as a gotcha thing, of which I honestly love saying also. That the worst critique for anarchy is that it might devolve back into something like a government. But at the end of the day, why don't we just fight for the minimal tolerable government that's gonna end up happening? Because we know that police are probably gonna be a thing, right? We're gonna have some sort of security force. So why not give them the best way to do it, right? Let's figure out the best minarchy and give them that. Because if we have minarchy, you will be much, much more likely to be able to say, well, my half of this area over here is now actually anarchist, because all the rest of the 320 million people that it doesn't affect are just going to be like, yeah, okay, cool, because they're all minarchists, so they don't give a fuck, right? It's just so much easier from that point. Why fight the people? I've never understood fighting minarchists.
Yes. And it's like when communists fight socialists. What are you doing? These people are actually changing things in the direction that you want, and you're going to attack them? What? You're such idiots. I don't. And when I don't get it. It's be pragmatic, be realistic. Make progress. It's not. It's not. It's use logic.
Right. Gryf, what about you? Have you looked into any other parties before joining the LP or since?
Right after Unity 2020, I was gonna hop into the Green Party just because I liked what they were doing with the environment. I'm really for technology and a better way forward. Elon Musk is huge to me. I love that guy. I think what he's done for electric vehicles is nuts. It took somebody like an Elon Musk to make that happen, to get the rest of the industry to shift. And I think you need more of that in just about every field. And I think the Green Party kind of really does focus on what's the best solution moving forward to environmental issues. But I don't know. I read it up on their party a little bit. I didn't really agree with everything they're doing. And the Libertarian Party, to me, just has, ever since I found out about it, I mean, I knew about it, but ever since I really found out about it and dove deep into the book, like I said, The Libertarian Mind by David Bowes, really is what converted me. I just really think that the Libertarian Party offers the most access that I've seen, as well as the most people who want to change shit, but also want to hold some traditions sacred. I think there's a lot of people in the libertarian movement who look at the Constitution as it should be looked at, and that's what I really like. I've tried to understand anarchy a little bit. I mean, I come around on some issues, but I think like you said, or I think like you said, anarchy devolves back into government eventually. So like I get both sides of the coin, but like why throw away the government you're already working with just so it can devolve back into one? Like
Right.
it's just seems like my opinion with human nature is that human nature left unchecked will devolve and it will get pretty ugly pretty quick. Just history says that. And I worry about mercenary warfare and stuff with anarchy that's a little further down the road. But I don't know. The Libertarian Party is a good home for me, and I've liked it so far, and I don't really see the need to push or promote anything else.
What did you see out of Unity that you thought that you think the LP should do or steal?
I thought Unity was really good about logical thinking and first principles thinking. I think that, so obviously Brett Weinstein is like the mastermind behind it. And he's a evolutionary biologist. So he really thinks about things like all the way through from start to finish. And that's what I liked about Unity 2020. But I also think that also caused us some issues because everything was so micromanaged that it was like you couldn't really get things done independently without getting it approved from top down. Even though it was a very open structure, it still seemed like there was people calling the shots all the time, you know? But I think first principles thinking, I think looking at issues and just seeing how you can get, like, for instance, Dan Crenshaw and Tulsi Gabbard to talk about what they'd want to do together. And I see you wincing in pain. But I just think
Dan Crenshaw.
I'm not saying I think that's the ticket that should be ran, but I think having like that sort of mind frame, like you can have a left guy, you can have a right guy, and you can have them come together and work through policy together. I think that's a great idea. And I really think that's what unity is all about anyways. So I think you guys kind of already stole it, to be honest.
Fair enough. I have mixed feelings about Unity 2020. I have obviously now quite a few friends that are former members. And so, what I find interesting is that a lot of people that have come over from Unity think that the LP is similar in some of the ways that you just said about like the top-down bureaucracy. And it's not. And it's not for a good reason. And like people are pissed at like the LP National Twitter because it doesn't tweet often enough about enough things. And it's like, do you guys understand how much bureaucracy affects that Twitter specifically, but how little of bureaucracy actually affects the party? So like you can go do shit. Like they don't tweet things because you're supposed to be tweeting things. Like, and then maybe send it to them and they'll retweet it or something because they, or something, work with them. If you don't think that they're tweeting enough stuff, reach out to somebody. Maybe maybe your state is looking for a social media manager or deputy or something like that. Facts are, I would put money on the fact that your state party is looking for a volunteer with social media right now. Like if you reach out to them, they are looking for a volunteer. All 50. They are all looking for a volunteer. I can say for New York, I'm sure both of your states could relate as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get involved. Like it's so decentralized and for a reason. Like don't look to LP National for something because it's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen for a good reason. Really.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings me back to my point I said earlier about just the access the LP has provided to me, especially being a relatively new member. It's like I've been able to be in conversations with you. I've been able to be in conversations with Reed. I've talked to Magnus.
Oh my gosh, it's like we're important people or something. Jeez.
No, well, I mean, to me though, you guys are though. Like that's the thing, David. You are important in what you're doing. Your work's important. Reed's work's important. Everybody in that fucking group's work is important, and you guys need to know that. So, like, thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. I mean, I'm really glad that what I've been able to do in the last year and a half has actually had an impact on people. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever been able to say to do. I spoke about this in a campaign meeting the other day, but there's someone running for city council in New York City who I met on the Tulsi Gabbard campaign while I was running for city council in 2019. And we were driving up to New Hampshire, which is like a 4.5 hour drive, almost 5.5 hour drive, depending on who's driving. And and every time he was just bombarding me with questions about like campaign finance board stuff and like how I reach voters and why I'm doing it. And at the time I saw it both as like a fun conversation because I'm a narcissist and like talking about myself, but also it's practice for like the voters, explaining my positions and explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing, stuff like that. And in the back of my mind, I was like, this guy would be a good candidate if he could like be a little bit less outrageous. And then eventually he started asking like really pointed questions. And I was like, are you going to run? And he was like, I'm thinking about it. And the next car ride, because this happened probably 6 times or so in like a 2.5 month span. But one of the last rides we took together before my election, he was like, I think I'm going to run in 2021 against my city councilman. He's an old white guy in a 80% brown neighborhood that really just doesn't belong there anymore. He's been there for too long. He's about to be term limited anyway. I think I can actually primary him or run on the libertarian line and possibly get him in the general. And I was like, dude, go for it. And then we were talking like actual strategy until I moved to New Hampshire, and he's doing it. He's like actually running right now. And he's one of the more put together campaigns that it's happening in New York City right now for the Libertarian Party. And I'm stoked like that me running actually had that kind of an effect on someone, and that like there's more people out there doing what I did because of it and doing it way better. Like, let me just say, like, already he's got more volunteers, more voters, more stuff going for him than I had on election day.
Yeah.
It's a little sad. It's a little sad.
Yeah.
Hey, but you created that, so you can still take some narcissistic credit somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's nice to think that way sometimes, and also to help a little bit. I haven't helped him as much as I thought I might be able to, because I've taken on such a role with Stacey's campaign and a couple of other things that my calendar is booked, people. But I'm glad that I have time to do that stuff and this, because this is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's important to have fun, I think. The LP is good at that. The LP is really good at that.
If anyone in the comments or here knows me, you will know that I am explicitly pro-fun. I do not tolerate anti-fun sentiment. If you are anti-fun, I will not be your friend. I will destroy you. Anti-fun is just not tolerable. At some point, everything has to be fun. Everything we do has to be fun. And policy has to be fun, which is why I'm actually a fan of Vermin Supreme, because the man is fun. Like, say what you will, that dude is fun. So, fun. I'm big on that.
Fun.
I knew who Vermin Supreme was before I knew what the Libertarian Party was. If that is not a campaign for fun right there, then I don't know what is.
Yeah.
That's actually a really important thing that not enough people in the Liberty movement understand, in my opinion. I think Gus might have a similar experience with some people that are just pretty anti-fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Zach. Anti-fun tolerant sentiment will not be tolerated ever. That's a no-go for me, frankly.
Anti-fun is for the deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be having fun when I'm dead, but I don't know about y'all.
I pretty much structured my entire life around having fun and doing things I like to do and things I love doing, and just not giving a flying fuck about what anybody has to say about it. And Honestly, I don't know. It's landed me in some pretty cool places. It's landed me talking to some pretty cool people, and I enjoy my life every day. So fun all the way, 100%.
Fun.
Life is a setup. Find your punchline. Man, these comments are bomb tonight. I'm loving it.
Episode 6-9.
Facts. I actually have to give a shout out to Donald Trump here because he helped me realize that fun is okay even in politics. Because so I decided that I wanted to be a prominent public figure in my life, like that was a goal of mine, whether that was through politics or business or something. I wanted to help a lot of people and really spread good ideas, that I wanted to be something. So I started living my life at least by age 14 with this ridiculous amount of paranoia of any driving ticket or bad grade or not making Eagle Scout or any of these possible negatives on my personal resume were just gonna tank my ability to run for president someday or something like that, right? And I'll give another weird presidential candidate shout out to Mitt Romney, because he's the one that made me realize that I could do both of those things, because I used to think it was one or the other, and he showed me that that I could go help a bunch of people, make a bunch of money, help a bunch of people, and then run for office. And I was like, that's a cool thing. I'm going to do that. And so then I was like, so I have to be perfect in all of those things. And then Trump became president, and I was like, no, I don't. I can have fun. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do and still run for president as long as I'm awesome enough.
Yeah.
See, that's my thing too. So my background, at least working, is bar restaurant management. That's all I've really done. In the bar restaurant field,
you can do it. I said you can be AOC. You can still run for office.
Thank you. I don't want to be, but thank you. I could be. But my experience is in the bar and restaurant industry, and so it's I deal with fucking bullshit drunks every day, and I'm talking shit to people. We're in the kitchen, we're joking around, making horrible, obscene jokes. Fucking up front, I'm dealing with bar people who are one way or the other, and it just goes to show Donald Trump really showed me, at least, that you can talk with that same blue collar black brashness as fucking everybody, the majority of this country, and they want to hear it. As much fun as it is to have perfected speech and have perfected speeches and talking points, it's if you just get up there and ramble, and even a little bit of what you're saying is making sense, somebody's gonna fucking feel that. They're gonna be like, damn, this guy is up there as a bar manager just talking shit about the Liberty Party or whatever it might be, and they're gonna be like, damn, I could do that too, and maybe I should do that, because I think everybody's voice should be heard, whether you're a billionaire like Donald Trump, whether you're a vampire slayer like Mitt Romney, whether you're a Bronx chick like AOC, your voice should be heard, and you should have a place in your country and in your state's politics. That's what it's set up for. That's what it's designed for. And leaders come out of everywhere. It doesn't matter what your background is, what you did prior. You can make a conscious decision to be better and better your community, and it just all starts from there. And it doesn't matter as long as you're not it does matter a little bit if you're a racist piece of shit, then maybe not, but in general people are good, I think, and in general I think people try to label people as bad, and I just think that's not the right thing to do.
I didn't realize this was a Donald Trump appreciation night, but that's all right.
Neither did I.
Thank you, Orange Man.
Yeah,
I love you, Orange Man.
Thank you. Cheetos are wonderful. They're my favorite snack. Someone needs to make him aware of the fact that eating Cheetos is in fact cannibalism for him, and that he should probably stop, though.
Listen, when you're on that much Adderall, I don't think it matters.
Good point. Yeah, I'm personally of the mind that I think every congressman should be in their state house first. And I think that we should go back to senators being elected by our state houses also. And I think that every state house person should be just like a regular dude before they're in the state house. They're lawyers, like PhDs, and none of that bullshit. Just like people, I mean, some obviously, right? Like you need, like every group should be represented. I don't want to hate on like the rich people or the successful people at all. It doesn't matter what you are, but it shouldn't be like this idea that you have to go to school for poli sci to be a politician or for law or something like that. It should be a little bit of everybody.
No, I think, I disagree with a lot of politicians, but I will defend them so hard the instant someone goes after their education level as a reason why they're bad. Like that's no reason to go after someone. Like even with Lauren Bower, like I hate that one. I hate her. But when people were like, she only has a high school diploma or whatever.
So based though.
Yeah. But whenever
I'm sorry.
Like, she just has a high school diploma, I'm gonna defend her because that is no reason not to be a politician. It just isn't. It's not a reason.
Mm-hmm. Especially when she is so successful, in her life. She's run multiple successful businesses. She's done really good things for her community. She's worked in her community. She got elected for good, whether you like her or not. She got elected for a reason. And yeah, to hate on her for that after she's kind of proven how bullshit the higher education system is anyway, I think she's a great example of it, honestly.
Yes. Maybe a terrible person, but still a good example.
Zach, yeah, she does just virtue signal for conservatives, but she also owns a super based bar in Western Colorado that I hope to patronize soon. So like I can appreciate her as a business owner and as a badass conservative woman that like carries her gun around everywhere and has a bar where everyone does that. Like that's just cool. Like as a gun nut, like I just respect that.
I really appreciate what Gus just said too about like not judging people based off their level of education. Like I'm a high school dropout, dude. Like I 100% dropped out when I was 17, was going to do online school, didn't do it, yada, 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 a bunch of life circumstances. Got my GED, did a couple courses in college, whatever. But like that never made me like, I don't like I haven't really ever talked about it. Like it's in my Twitter bio, but like I don't really talk about it too much because it does seem like a barrier to entry for a lot of things like politics. I'm really into science and I read a lot about string theory, and it just seems like somebody who's a high school dropout shouldn't be doing these things because that's what society tells you. Like I should just be a fucking dishwasher somewhere, yada, yada, yada. But I think judging people based off of what level of education they get to, it's like I like to think of myself as a knowledgeable guy. I might not come across the most well-spoken or well-put, and part of that probably is from dropping out of high school. But I think you still can learn, you still can be involved in your community, and you still can make a difference in the world. Like bring it back to Elon again. One of the things he always says is he looks for a history of success over a history of like degrees or certificates. Like, are you a winner or not? Are you actively trying to better yourself, better your life? And that's what's really important to me. And being in a position just as like a bar restaurant manager, like I hire people all the time who, they might look like shit on paper, haven't held a job in 5 years, haven't just got out of jail, whatever. I give everybody equal chances. Like I hired this deaf chick who couldn't even hear the dishwasher running to be the dishwasher, and she killed it until she quit, but she killed that shit. Like there's no reason to like bar anybody's ability to participate. I mean, until they once again are a crazy racist or a bigot or whatever it might be. But like there's no reason to hold anybody or to keep anybody out of participating. Like everybody has a seat at the table, and everybody should have the ability to be heard. And if your ideas suck, well then we're gonna let you fucking know,
Yeah, That's the best part about freedom of association is like it applies to everyone and universally. And it's just like sometimes they suck, sometimes they don't. I'm free to associate with whoever the fuck I want to for however long of an amount of time I want to. It's like an at-will employment contract. It's just like the best way to interact with people because you can say fuck off at any point in time. But the thing is, like an at-will employment, you say fuck off and then don't do anything bad to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, like, look, if we want to talk about like the gay bakery cake thing, right? Like, I didn't understand that whole controversy. Like, look, let's say I'm getting married, which is never going to happen, but let's say it happens, right? Man,
you just upset a lot of people on Twitter.
I go to the baker and he says he's not going to bake a cake for me because I'm gay. I don't want him to take my money. I don't want to fund that. Like, I hate this guy for that. I hate that. So, no, I'm not going to force you to take my money so you can stay in business. Like, no, absolutely not. I'm going to, maybe yell at you a little bit. I'm going to complain about it on social media. I'm going to maybe take action beyond that. But I don't want you getting a cent out of me. Like, that's not going to happen. So, that's freedom of association.
Yeah.
I would say vote with your dollar, man. Like, if that fucking piece of shit baker doesn't want to bake you a cake, the free market allows for there to be a baker who does want to make your cake and will take your money and give you a product you're happy with. So, like, vote with your dollar. I still haven't watched Falcon or Winter Soldier, and I want to so bad, but I hate Disney Plus and what they stand for, and I just won't do it. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I feel really bad. I just went to see a Disney movie on Sunday.
Listen,
but
some of them,
yeah.
I'm going to have to break my little streak here on some of them. Like, once the next Avengers movie comes out, like, Griffin's there. But, like, as far as giving them my money monthly, I'm not there. Like, no way.
But, like, look, I have never in my life eaten at KFC. Not KFC. See, I can't speak tonight. Chick-fil-A. I have never in my life eaten... I've actually never eaten at KFC either, but that's not for ideological reasons. But Chick-fil-A, like, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to give them money, and you're free to do that if you want to, but I'm not going to help them, Like, it's not... Yeah. It's
I think they're a subpar place to anyway. So
it's not where I'm going for a chicken sandwich.
Popeyes, bro.
Popeyes 100%
all day.
Spicy chicken.
I'm partial to Panda Express, but I'm not sure that's relevant. I know it's not real food. It's plastic. I know it's plastic. It's basically plastic, but it's so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Taco Bell. Yeah, so I went to see Raya and the Last Dragon, and it was actually a super based movie, and I feel weird saying it as often as I've said it since watching it because it was actually a super based movie. But yeah, I feel bad like promoting a Disney movie because it's like, isn't this not what I like? I give my sister shit for having a monthly subscription to Disney Plus. And also Amazon Prime. I'm like, bruh, no. Right. I've never once in my entire life given Amazon my money.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, their products are just shit anyways. I'm sorry. They're a monopoly. I fucking hate Amazon. Don't get me started, dude. They're a monopoly. They are. If you thought Target coming into your town was going to kill the small business in your town, you have no idea what Amazon's done. And did you see that most recent shit? They make their drivers piss in water bottles. And, like, I guess I don't know that to be fact. I've never seen an Amazon driver pissing in a water bottle, per se. But I do see them when they're driving their little vans around sprinting door to door. It's like, what I get, you want your product tomorrow. That's fine and dandy. And if somebody's willing to take a wage to do that, then whatever, I guess. But I just don't agree with how they decide to treat their employees and then all of the behind the scenes messaging and lobbying they do to make sure it can stay the way they want it to. Like, there's one company in the United States that needs to be broken up and distributed. It's Amazon. They need to figure that out because I can't stand it. It makes me mad. I won't. Diapers. I get my diapers from there, but I feel super conflicted about it. Just because they're cheap, they're cheaper than even going to Walmart. But they did put diapers.com out of business, and I hate that. Like, I literally hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really conflicting situation. Yeah. So how do we combat that? How do we monopolize for liberty instead?
Well, I mean, look, I think it's all about boycotts. Boycotts are where it's at. I think they're an effective way. Social outrage is actually really powerful. It's really strong, and there's nothing wrong with it. As much as some culturally conservative libertarians will tell you there's something wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with yelling at someone until they change how they act. There really isn't, because you're not hurting them except in a way that, deprives them of their resources. There's nothing wrong with that. So, go for it.
Yeah. If you're not violating their private property, people complain a lot about Twitter, but the block button exists.
Yeah.
The mute button exists. Like, just mute them. I say that a lot in the group chat. Gryf can back me up on this one. I'm always up in the group chat just being like, would you please block this motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, please. Or just mute him. Like, or her. Or them. Like, they're just...
I've been lucky enough. I haven't really gotten into shit with anybody to the point that I need to block or mute anybody. I'm sure it's coming. There's been a couple. Just recently, I was blocked by some fucking asshole who thinks I'm a Russian bot. I'm not, bro. I'm real. USA all day. But I agree that they should be there, and you should just block that shit out. Because, like, I haven't had any altercations like that. But there are people with 15 followers who will just sit on Twitter all day, just up in your comments. You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking this or that. You didn't put a comma right here. Yada, yada, yada. Like, bro, I'm sorry. Like,
the Oxford comma people, will come after you if you don't fucking use it.
I still get shit for not knowing the difference between T-O and T-O-O, and I refuse to learn. Like, I know I could figure this out, but I just, because it pisses people off so bad, I refuse to care. Like, I will put a T-O and then a T-O-O reverse backwards in the way they should be, because I refuse to read about it, because you guys get mad at me for it, so whatever.
I mean, okay, so look.
You are a Russian bot, because Wisconsin is pretty much Midwest Russia.
Swiss bot, actually, if you can't tell by the fucking Swiss cheese ass face right now.
No, okay. Like, look.
I'm sad.
I am not. I'm semi-controversial, I think, on Twitter in some circles. I don't think everyone likes me. Because, I have managed to avoid being labeled as Loser Brigade or whatever that group is.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to align with them more than I'm going to align with Mises people. I've gotten some shit, definitely, especially when I have, but it's not... I've blocked a few people, but mainly just Nazis. And when I say Nazis, I don't mean like disagree with. I mean like Nazis.
Actual Nazis.
Actual Nazis. Those are but I haven't really blocked people that I disagree with. Just Nazis. So yeah.
I would be honored for there to be somebody I don't like enough to block. Like, if I can find that person, dude, please, like, get in my comments. Fucking piss me off. Because if I block you, you're gonna be my first. You can have that on me forever.
Wait till you interact with Mr. Ron Combs. He terrorized my entire friend group on Twitter for a while. And then every other social media platform, too. That's the craziest part. Like, people harassing me on Twitter, that's cool. People harassing me on any social media platform, kind of used to it. The fact that this motherfucker interacted with me on Twitter until he got blocked, and then found me on Facebook and Instagram, and all of my alternate pages on all of them, and I had to block him from literally every social media I have. I'm like, what amount of time do you have with your life, dude? And it's not like he was being sensible at all. He was just being an asshole, like always. He had nothing nice to say about libertarianism at all, and just he existed purely for the sole sake of of just like shitting on everything libertarian. And I'm like, bro,
That's insane. Wow.
It is an honor to live in somebody's mind in that way, though, especially if you don't know them. Like, dude, like, it's almost like a fetish for them, I feel. Like, he's secretly like, oh, David's on Instagram. I better go find him. Like, David's there. I'm going to go comment real quick. He's like, I hope he responds. Ooh, my boyfriend David. Like,
it's probably, I mean, there's plenty of people on Twitter who I wish could call me that. He's not one of them.
No,
my whole thing is I think I'm going to get it's just a matter of time before I trip over myself and say some shit that gets me canceled. So like I embrace it with full force. Like, bro, let's get this over with and just come back from it. I'm ready for the redemption arc.
I have been canceled numerous times on libertarian Twitter. I think my biggest cancellation occurred when I tweeted that AOC was more libertarian than Rand Paul.
I'm pretty sure I muted you after that for a little while. I'm not gonna lie. So, I'm pretty sure I muted you from that until you joined the campaign.
Yeah, people were not pleased with that exactly. I think I got quote tweeted by Brad what's his name, and
Palumbo,
yeah, and Ian Miles Cheong, I think too, quote tweeted me. I'm not sure. It was an interesting experience. But yeah, I got people didn't love that, but I don't think people hate me that much. See, I'm just having an existential crisis here right now. Don't mind me.
There you go. There's a great quote in a song that from AJR that just came out a couple weeks ago. It's said I'm gonna butcher the quote, but it's I'm sick of wondering if people hate or if people are shy or if they hate me. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel that shit so hard, especially in liberty circles, because like a big fucking chunk of the group are like closet dwelling neckbeards that just like don't exist in public circles or have any idea how to interact with other humans. And so it's like you join a group chat and like say something and like everyone just leaves you on red, and it's like my soul just died a little bit, but also I just leave people on red in group chats all fucking day. So
yeah.
It's a little hypocrisy there.
Yeah.
So what do you think the movement needs to do to get more people like yourselves jumping feet first into busting ass for liberty?
I mean, my pet peeve is I don't understand why people aren't running for office, and I mean local office, because I have two things here. First off, just being on the ballot is a big deal. Like, you go to vote and you see an L next to someone's name for every office, for half the offices even. That's like, oh my god, here's an option that is consistent, so maybe I could actually do something for them. That's something. And then the other thing that I see about running for local offices is that libertarian positions are actually not controversial on the local level, right? Because what are the two things that I think of when I think local office? The two things that I think of are, and I know this might be me specifically, I don't know, is zoning and education. Those are the things that like everyone likes to talk about. And so zoning, I mean projects too, like eminent domain, all that stuff. That's what I think on the local level. And opposing extreme zoning and being for funding students versus funding, sort of education complex is not unpopular at all. That is a super uncontroversial stance. So, while some of our platform ideas are very controversial when you get to the national stage. We could be really, really marketable on the local level if we just tried that. It's not difficult.
Yeah. Gryf, you got any ideas?
Sorry, I was just reading through the comments for the first time in this chat, so I got a little distracted. What was the question? These comments are fire, though.
Right. What do you think we can do as a movement? I don't even necessarily mean the party, just a movement to get more people like yourselves jumping in to kicking ass for liberty. I think I said busting ass the first time, but kicking ass is more fun.
I like kicking ass more. I personally think that to get more people involved like myself, what you really need to do is break down party politics, because at least a lot of people I know in my age range, I'm 23, they're very party based off of what their parents were, based off of what their family is, based off of what town they grow up in. And I think if you can start going back to like the first principles type thinking of the Libertarian Party, there's not anything controversial, like Gus said, about the Libertarian Party. It's accept your neighbor, basically. It's almost like biblical what the Libertarian Party stands for, like respect thy neighbor. And I think that when you explain it to people, especially America, like you can have guns, like you can have drugs, like you can have sex with whoever you want, like you can travel around the country, see everything. Like I think it really speaks to people in a very primitive way. And I think everybody, when it comes to liberty, just personal liberty, wants more personal liberty in their life. And I think having conversations with people in your community, I think going out there and knocking doors, I plan on doing that as soon as some of my materials arrive, like business cards and yard signs and stuff. I think knocking doors, talking to people, just, and having fun is the best way to get anybody to do anything. Like, I don't need you to agree with me. I just need you to agree that there's a problem, and I can work from there all fucking day long, So, and I think the local level is a great way to do it. Just like Gus said, I think you get people in your, your local county to step up. You get people in your state to step up. You get your House of Congress in your state to start, embracing your ideals, and everything kind of comes around from there. And if there's one thing I've learned in the last year and a half volunteering for politics, it's that people are excited when they feel like they're being heard. I get excited when I feel like I'm being heard. Like having a platform like yours, David, or having just Liberty Twitter, like retweet the shit out of something that some random dude who's new to the party might say, it really does make a difference. It makes people get excited. It makes people want to stick around. And I think just focusing on that, focusing on good ideas, focusing on taking control of your own life, focusing on giving yourself the freedom to do what you want to do is the best way to promote the party and the best way to get everybody around, or not even the party, but the movement. Because like I said, I'm not binded to the party in any way that I feel like I couldn't be disconnected from it, but I'm binded to this idea of personal liberty and personal ownership. And it's part of the reason I love Jocko Willink so much, is like his personal responsibility is huge. And for me personally, I didn't have a lot of personal responsibility for a while. And as soon as I did take responsibility for my own life and my own thoughts and my own actions, you feel not woke, but like you feel like in control again. You feel like you can actually make things happen and change things. So I just think focusing on all the best parts and not focusing too much on the shitty parts of the party and the movement is the best way to do it. And just talking to people, conversation over confrontation all fucking day long.
Yeah, personal responsibility is a big thing for me, and I think it's something that gets talked about not nearly enough. I think it was Rex Lawhorn I had on that said that personal freedom and personal responsibility are two sides of the same coin, and they have to come together. And I fully believe that, because we can't have a libertarian society in the society we live in right now. It will not work. All the statist dumbass critiques of libertarianism are 1000% accurate if Adam Kokesh had been elected president in 2020 and pushed the Rothbard button and just blew up the federal government. Everything that they have said is 100,000% correct, because we live in a shithole country that doesn't understand any form of responsibility, let alone personal or community responsibility, or like caring about other people, like being a good person, right? Like, it's such a minority thought that we can't do liberty right now. It's just not a thing. It can't work. So we have to push that while we're pushing liberty, because I think it's really easy to get people caught up in the lack of responsibility that comes with liberty, because, you know, it's like, oh, you're not going to go to jail for being a fuckwit, and all the fuckwits are like, nice, and it's like, but that's not the message, right? The message is a better society for everybody coming together as a community to like do things where we don't need a state. That's the message. It's not you're free to be a fuckwit and no one's gonna bother you. That's not it.
Yeah.
So like Gus, you said, yelling at people is not a violation of the NAP.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the NAP? Is that like...
So, you know, I'm a fan of it as a starting place, but I think we have to be nuanced with it. And like, I think my friend Thunder, who I think is on, I don't know, had said, which made a lot of sense, that like, we can acknowledge that things are a violation of the NAP and still not be against them. And I know that sounds controversial, but like, logically speaking, if I trip and fall onto your property, can you shoot me? No, you're not allowed to shoot me because I trip and fall onto your property. That's ridiculous. That is a violation of basic human rights. And yet that doesn't violate the non-aggression principle because I violated your private property. But you still don't get to shoot me. Like, you just don't. So we have to be reasonable. And it's a great starting place, but it is not definitive. It just...
What about you, Gryf? You got any feelings on the non-aggression principle?
Like Gus said, I think it's a great starting point. I really like that example you just gave of like, if you trip and fall onto my property, yeah, that's no right for me to shoot you. And I guess I haven't really thought about it in that way before. When I think about it, I just think about it like, I'm not gonna go out here and assault somebody. I'm not going to go out and start viciously attacking you and your family online and doxing you. You know, like, I'm not, that's how I view the non-aggression principle, but I think it is open to interpretation. And I think the way I interpret it is a more nuanced way of interpreting it, just like Gus is speaking about. Yeah, I don't know. I would agree with Gus. It's a good starting point, but it's not an end-all, be-all. And it should be open for debate on what exactly that means. Because, like, I'm sure you have some libertarian friends who would be like, you fall on my property, fucking right, I'm going to shoot you, that's my property, you know? And I just don't think that's good. Like, I think that's a really dumbed down version of what it means. So I think just looking at it with, like, a level head is the best way to treat it.
Yeah. And I think, and that's a really easy example to agree with. I could take it into more controversial places, you know? Like, I don't think thieves should necessarily be shot on sight. Like, look, maybe if you give them warning and if you tell them to stop, that kind of thing could be justified. But if some kid steals some makeup, no, I don't think you necessarily get to shoot them. I think you get to catch them and have them give back the property, maybe even pay a fine. But no, I don't think you get to shoot them. I think you could take that to the environment. How much pollution is an NAP violation? How much is there a libertarian case for the Green New Deal? I know that sounds crazy, but is there? If I'm a company and I pollute so much that I'm causing people who live next door to die of cancer, am I violating the NAP? I might be. So, you know, it's more complicated. There are gray areas. It's hard.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It cannot be definitive for sure. But it's a good, it's kind of, I think Gryf, you said that libertarianism is basically like Christianity, and in a lot of ways, and so I feel like um, it's the non-aggression principle is like the golden rule. It's like do unto others kind of a thing. It's like this is a guiding principle that we can live by.
Yeah.
But
and I think like the basic idea of like, I don't hurt people and don't take their stuff or whatever is great. But like I said, there are always gray areas, just like with the golden rule, do unto others as you would unto yourself is good. But, if you are bullying people and if you're hurting people and someone hurts them to stop them, they obviously don't want that done unto themselves, but they may still be justified. So, there's always gray areas. There's always exceptions, but it's a good starting point.
right. Well, I want to give you guys a chance to shout out what you guys are doing again and tell people how they can help out. So, Gryf, tell people how to get a hold of you, how to help out, and what you're doing.
So yeah, you can follow me at Unity Gryf. It's been playing underneath on a slider or whatever every time I talk. It's up in the thumbnail. That's my Twitter at. If you want to find me on Facebook or anything else, I'm not very active there, but Griffin Weibel, GriffinWeibel. Do not fucking dox me. If things I'm doing, Second Look News, like I said, we're aiming for a soft open in May. That's still up in the air a little bit, and a hard open in June. I am taking part in star voting for Oregon. They have a bill going through. I'm trying to go on a bit of a podcast run here, just promoting Liberty Unity, Second Look News, star voting, all that stuff. So you can just check my Twitter for shit I'm on. Come check me out. Thumbs up, whatever. And honestly, anybody who wants to chat, just send me a DM. I think my DMs are open, and we can just hang out, chat. Like, I'm cool with anything. I like having my worldview get holes poked in it. So anyone wants to talk to me, give me a follow. Let's do it.
All right.
I would say just, follow me on Twitter, talk to me, DM me, always open. And read outright blogs. Please follow or donate to the Stacey Pressman campaign. It's a great campaign. One of the only important elections happening this year. So, look at that.
Yeah. Shout out Stacey Pressman. I don't know if you're still watching, but much love.
Big S's for Stacey, whichever fucking way.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. This was fucking great. What I really wanted to do with this show from the beginning was promote people that are actually doing shit and not keyboard warriors. And I got caught up for a little while with promoting a bunch of keyboard warriors again, because they were the ones that were going to get me followers on Twitter if I had them on the show. But I'm really like the fact that there are people out there like you guys that really did. I've said it a bunch of times, but you guys jumping feet first into it and really working for liberty. And it's something that not a lot of people can say. I didn't get started this fast, not even close. So shout out to you guys for that.
Yeah, and David, once again, dude, you read the Liberty, Jeremy Todd, Kevin Hobby, all you guys, you've really opened my worldview, helped me out a lot. I appreciate everything you guys have done to, get me involved, promote me, whatever it might be. So just thank you. Your show has bigger impact than I think you even want to realize, David. So smoke another joint. Just think on that.
I appreciate you. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We will catch you back here next time. Once again, if you want to help out some awesome people in the Liberty movement, go check out what they're doing over at nugofknowledge.com and use promo code UNITE. Get 10% off because they're doing some cool shit. And smoke it up. So do that and then come back here next time. The next show is on Saturday with Mark Pellegrino, so that'll be a good time. Catch you next time. Keep up the fight.